The next big crypto trend for 2025. Well, I've been talking about this and I am still bullish for the rest of 2025. I think a lot of 2026 I'm still bullish about. I'll tell you guys when I change my opinion, and I'll also tell you guys why I'm bullish based on what I'm seeing on the charts here. If you guys been following my channel, this is nothing new to you. I have been saying that I'm still bullish on crypto despite the amount of ups and downs we have been seeing, especially in the past couple of days. Now, I've been talking about Bitcoin, which is still the driver of this crypto markets. If it pumps, very good for the altcoins, especially if it still has a good target left, which I still think we do. However, if Bitcoin dumps from here, that would still be very bad for the altcoins. And I'm not ruling that out of the cards, but I'm just saying it's more likely that we're going up. Okay. We're going to also be talking about a few altcoins later in this video, which will include XYO network, see what has gone on in this market, Verasity, which is VRA, as well as Spark SPK. See what are some price targets, updated price targets for these coins, as well as their trading patterns. I think you guys should be paying attention to. Now, before then, we're going to be getting into some major crypto news that could affect the markets before getting into the charts here. So let's go ahead and dive into that first, and I'll give you guys my instant reactions to some of these major headlines here. Now, this one is by Crypto Potato. Will Bitcoin hit 119K or drop to 110K next? Key levels and focus. I think right now is a lot more likely we're going to 119K and not 110K. I'm just saying more likely, right? I'll show you guys what I'm seeing on the charts, and of course, if Bitcoin continues on this upward trajectory, very good for the altcoins. Next piece here is by ZY Crypto. Two leading altcoins take social media by storm as the crypto market fluctuates. Now, you do have to read this on ZY Crypto, and how you can actually go there is you can either go through TradingView or go to zycrypto.com, I believe, on your own. Um, Now, I do see quite a bit of altcoins coming back today, as you guys can see here, right? Very few altcoins that are actually down. I do think that it's going to be the bigger altcoins that are going to be leading this recovery first before the smaller altcoins see any major upside. Of course, that's going to be proportionate to their market cap as well, right? You're gonna see these smaller market cap coins be a lot more volatile, right? Because they're just smaller. Of course, they have the downside risk as well. But what I'm seeing here is Ethereum, right, up over 5% today. Total 3, which is basically the altcoin market cap, excluding Ethereum, oh, recovering over 2%. We're going to take a look into that chart as well. It's going to be very important. Next piece here is by Cointelegraph. Bought the 112K dip. 5 signs Bitcoin's bull run is about to return. So I actually put in some longs for Bitcoin yesterday on leverage. I took some short-term targets, right? Short-term profits as well earlier this morning. I mean, I was kind of close to that 112K dip. I know that, when Bitcoin dips, I am going to take advantage, right, of Bitcoin being at support level, which was at the daily 50 SMA. I know I will still get a bounce, even though it might not be the bounce that would take it to the higher high, but I know it is still going to be a short-term uh, short target profit opportunity. Of course, these are just my opinions and not financial advice. You gotta make your own strategy and do your own research. I am long on Bitcoin and quite a bit of these altcoins here, so my opinion is gonna be pretty bullish here. So let's take a look into the next piece, right? Binance $1.5 billion liquidations and negative funding rates hint at market bottom. I do agree that this could very likely be the market bottom. Even though there are some mixed signals, right? On the monthly time frame, on the weekly time frame, I've seen bearish divergence. However, during major breakouts like back in December 2020, uh, October 2017, even November 2024, I mean, that was still a decent breakout. I mean, these divergences, which usually indicate a pullback, actually has been invalidated. So could this be a time where we're expecting a bigger breakout? I mean, my probability and my bets are that it is. You know, we have a higher probability of a breakout here. Of course, nothing's 100%, so gotta consider the downside risk as well. Next piece is by News BTC. Bitcoin finds support at 114K. Okay, but rally may stall without new drivers. Okay, I like contrasting opinions. I am open minded in hearing what the bears have to say as well, especially when I'm a bull or when I am a bear and listen to what the bulls have to say. I think just have to keep an open mind because, I'm never 100% correct. No one is. So it's good to be critical of, what's going on with others' opinions and maybe find some new insights. But you know, um, I do see resistance at about that daily 21 SMA. Okay, which is curving a little downwards right now at about 117.5 right now, the blue line. So that is going to be the next level of resistance. It could stall, right? So I talked about Bitcoin here, about a falling wedge pattern that broke down, and I said if we actually break back up into this pattern, this would still look bullish for Bitcoin, and that is still true. However, I do have to invalidate this falling wedge pattern as I am adjusting my opinion on if this, if we actually get a solid candle closes back into this pattern, that this pattern is still valid. I'm adjusting my opinion on that, and I'm actually going to invalidate this pattern here. Okay, I think the possibility that we could be looking at is that this forms a cup and handle pattern, maybe on the daily time frame before it takes off. Right now, cup and handles are usually bullish patterns. Okay, if it does, then that's going to be very good for Bitcoin. But the first, it's got to overcome this resistance at about 117.5, the daily 21 SMA here, right? I am still seeing a shorter term pattern here, which is a falling wedge pattern, which usually breaks to the upside, is still valid. It's got a little bit more target left to go. Now, price targets are estimates only. There could be more or less. Very much depends on the markets, right? And some macro factors as well. Now, price target for this breakout here, which I pointed out, would give Bitcoin about 116K here, which is pretty in line where the hourly 200 SMA is, which is a pretty important short term moving average, right? So that is basically what I'm seeing as some resistance levels for Bitcoin, and I think you should be paying attention to, even though if you're just trading altcoins. I never trade altcoins without a clear understanding of what Bitcoin is doing. Now, let's go ahead and go to the total three charts, okay, which is also very important because I pointed out a cup and handle pattern here on the daily time frame, which looked like, the altcoins have broken out of here, right? Now, this cup and handle pattern price target was at about 1.17 trillion. Okay. Um, Total three broke out of it, but broke back into it with a solid candle close, with the candle close, and then broke back above it. But what's very important is that it's staying above this support level at about 960 billion. Very important. Total three stays above that, right? That was the breakout point. But however, this cup and handle does have to be invalidated because I am seeing a candle close back into it on the highest time frame where that pattern was valid, which is the daily time frame. So this is basically what I'm seeing, but I'm still seeing a very bullish signal here that is staying above the $960 billion level for total three, which is representative of all the altcoins in the markets. Let's go ahead and go to altcoins. Let's go ahead and go to XYO network first. See what's going on in this markets since the last time we've talked about it. Weekly time frame. Let's zoom out and see what the overview of this coin is saying. Okay, I'm gonna wait for TradingView to load my chart real quick. So I pointed out a falling wedge pattern on this weekly time frame. Huge falling wedge pattern. XYO did break out of it. Stayed above the um, the top trend line here. Okay, stayed above the top trend line here. And before taking off, right, with a move back up to about 2.25 cents. Now, the price target for XYO out of this breakout, which is still valid, would be about 3.9 cents, about there. And it is trying to work its way there right now. Let's see. Let's zoom in and see if we can get any more clarity on what XYO could be doing. 4-hour time frame, I pointed out a falling wedge pattern on this market last time. It did break to the downside against its probabilities, right? Because falling wedges usually break to the upside. But of course, downside breakdowns are still possible. So just gotta risk manage. Now, falling wedge pattern, since it has invalidated the previous one, it has still formed a bigger one here. Now, price target for this one is about almost 1.3 cents there. Okay, so we still have a little bit of room to go for XYO, right? Let's see if XYO meets that price target, right? Before going to the bigger one. Now, what I usually do is if a coin reaches its price target and it consolidates at that price range, I will chart the consolidation pattern and see if I can get more clarity on if it's more probable of going up or pulling back. Next, let's go to Verasity, VRA, see what's going on in here. Weekly time frame, where I pointed out a huge falling wedge pattern, which usually breaks to the upside. If it breaks by this point here, just say for example, right, in about a week or two, price target would be about 1.5 cents for Veracity, 1.5 cents, which is almost a 10x here. Now, like I said, price targets are estimates only. In this case, very much depends on what Bitcoin does, right? So you want to be rooting for Bitcoin. Now, let's take a look into just some of the supports and resistances that you should be paying attention to on this weekly time frame. Weekly 21 SMA, which is where Veracity is trying to hold as support right now at about that 0.145 cents level, right? It's trying to hold above that right now, which is the blue line here, very close to the breakout point of this pattern here. Weekly 50 SMA is about 0.27 cents, right? The white line here. Let's zoom in and see if I can get any more clarity on what VRA could be doing. 4-hour time frame, falling wedge pattern again. Okay, if it breaks out by this point, price target would be about 0.19 cents price targets. Okay, now there could be scenarios where a coin breaks out of the pattern, but it doesn't go. It's short of its price target as well. So something to be mindful of. I mean, nothing in this market is 100%, right? Just because you break out doesn't mean that you're going to get to the price target 100%. It could flop, it could be a fake out. Some things to be paying attention to. I've seen all types of these in my 5+ years of trading. Let's go ahead and go to Spark SPK, see what's going on in here. This is a relatively new coin. It's a smaller altcoin, just like VRA, XYO. It's ranking 200 and below. So it's definitely riskier. Just know what you're getting yourself into if you're trading these coins. I think there is appropriate times to trade these coins. I think right now is that time because Bitcoin has actually just broke through its all-time high. But a lot of it's going to depend on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts dumping back below 110K, that's probably going to be a bad sign for these altcoins, right? Um, and of course, if Bitcoin starts consolidating or if it starts a downtrend, that's going to be very bad for the altcoins as well. As we have seen back in last year, starting from about March 2024, that was a terrible time for altcoins, right? Let's go ahead and go to Spark. Okay, Spark. This is the daily time frame. This is a relatively new coin. Double bottom here on this daily time frame. Measure the get a measure move from this double bottom, which is basically measuring from the neckline, about 12 cents down to about 7.8 cents, right? That would give me a measure move of about 16 cents for Spark, which is still it still has some way to go, right? It still got a 25% move left in the tank if it was to get to the price target. Now what I'm seeing for Spark here is it could be forming some type of a cup and handle, right? If it comes back up here to retest 20 cents, right here at this level, it could form some type of a rounded bottom. Of course, it's still a very hypothetical scenario. Now, if it does come back up here to this 20 cents level, this is the daily time frame, it could get a rejection and then it could get support back at about maybe 18 cents. I'm just looking at the previous resistance for some support clarity, right? Of course, it doesn't even have to do that. It could, if it was to, it could just blast through as well. But those are just some things that I would be, expecting to look for. At least I can get some kind of idea on what could happen, right? And then I could actually plan my moves accordingly. So this is basically what I'm seeing for Spark SPK, hypothetical uh, cup and handle pattern, right? If that does form, we can come back here and update this chart if enough of you guys want to see it. So this wraps it up for this video. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of these coins or any other coins in the markets. I'll pick a request to do for you guys on a daily basis. And that wraps it up for this video, and I'll see you on the next one.